So today we're creating a zero-based budget for a single mom who is currently a paraprofessional who brings home a total of $2,640 in net income. But hold up, there is a twist to Kay's story. Kay's income fluctuates from month to month. Kay also does not get paid in the summers. Kay is behind on her bills, and she is currently drowning in debt. So let's go ahead and create a budget for my subscriber, Kay. So what's up, guys? It's Jeanetta from Cash and Curls, and today I am back with another episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls. In today's episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls, I believe it's going to be a good one. I believe that in today's video, we are going to help so many families who are struggling with their bills and is drowning in debt, and we're going to help a lot of single moms out there. So let's go ahead and get into the details. So today's episode actually touched my heart because when I read Kay's form, I can tell that Kay was sick and tired of her situation and she was ready to make a change. Kay's situation also touched my heart because she is in the education world, and if you do not know, I am a full-time elementary school teacher and I actually work with a paraprofessional, and just looking at all of the things they have to do, I believe that they are truly underpaid. So Kay, I got you, girl. I understand your situation and I want you to believe and know that you can win with your money, and today I'm going to show you how. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the agenda. So in today's video, we're going to first and foremost create a budget for Kay as is, using the numbers that she provided for me. Secondly, I'm going to add my special Cash and Curls touch to Kay's budget to help her get her budget zero-based. Next, I'm going to provide some recommendations specifically on how she can get caught up on her bills, how to settle some debts and negotiate a few of her debts and loans that she have, and then I'm going to leave you guys with some homework. So if you're interested in watching, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click that notification bell so you will not miss my next episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls. So let's go ahead and get into the details. So Kay is a 32-year-old single woman with one child who is in elementary school, and she currently lives in Connecticut. Kay is currently behind on her bills and she is drowning in debt. Kay currently works as a paraprofessional, and if you're not in the education world, a paraprofessional is simply a teacher's assistant or a teacher's aide. Kay gets paid weekly. Kay's total net income is $2,640 a month, and Kay's income also includes supplemental income from food stamps and child support. So let's go ahead and create a zero-based budget for Kay. So in today's video, I'm going to be using my handy dandy free monthly budget template. Okay, so if you've been watching these videos and you have not downloaded this, sis, bro, what are you doing? Go ahead and download this free monthly budget template because in my opinion, I believe it's very beginner friendly. I believe that if you're a beginner with budgeting, this template could truly help you out. If you're new to the budgeting world and you don't know where to start, first and foremost, download that monthly budget template. Then I highly recommend that you check out my Budget With Me series here on YouTube, where I help people from different walks of life and different incomes create a zero-based budget. So I will go ahead and link my playlist to my Budget With Me series down in the description box and up here in the cards, okay? So let's go ahead and help Kay out. All right, guys, so I have all my materials and I'm ready to start Kay's budget. So I'm going to go ahead and use this brown marker to get started, and we're going to start off with her income. So Kay stated that she gets paid weekly, so I'm going to go ahead and write out her payments for the month. All right, so her first paycheck is for $600. Her next one is $480. Then she has a $560 check, and then she has a $600 check. Okay, so this is her income from her part-time job as a paraprofessional. In addition to that, Kay also mentioned that she receives $200 in child support. I'm just going to put that over here to the side. $200, and that is child support. And she also gets $200 in food stamps. So I'm going to put plus $200 food stamps. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up these totals to figure out what Kay's total monthly net income is. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so this is Kay's total net income, which is $2,640. So I'm going to go ahead and write that right here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into her fixed expenses. So if you're new here, fixed expenses are expenses that do not fluctuate from month to month. So let's go ahead and write these out. So Kay mentioned that she does have rent, but in her form, she did state that dad was paying for rent, but dad pays $500 for rent. So I'm just going to put that right there because that is an expense that's important to know. Next, she has car insurance. Okay, and her car insurance is $240. She also has tuition for her child. And tuition is $250. She has life insurance, okay, which is important, and we all should have life insurance. And she pays $150 a month for life insurance. Her cell phone bill is $50 a month. She has Apple Music, and Apple Music is $18. She has Amazon. Amazon $7. She has AAA. So I'll just put AAA, AAA, and that is $7 a month. She has, lastly, Apple Storage. Okay, and she pays $3 a month for Apple Storage. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and total up Kay's fixed expenses. So I am going to total up all of these numbers. I am not going to include this $500. Is $725. So I'm going to go ahead and write that right here under fixed expenses. That's $725. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and work on her variable expenses. So those are things that fluctuate from month to month. Groceries. Okay, and Kay budgets $200 for groceries, but she also receives that $200 in supplemental income with food stamps. So her grand total for groceries a month is $400. And I'm just going to put in parentheses, this is where the food stamp money is going. She also pays for gas for her car, and she is allocating $200. Kay also helps her mom out. She mentioned in her form that her mother had just lost her job, so she is giving her mother $120 a month in the area of spending / eating out. Eating out, she is allocating $200. Okay. And Kay also has a personal and beauty category. Okay, and she is spending $200 a month for personal and beauty. So these are all of Kay's variable expenses. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add these numbers up, and then we're going to put our total down here. All right, so we have 400 plus. All right, so her total variable expenses is $1,120. So let's go ahead and write that right there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to her savings. So at the moment, Kay is not sending any money towards her savings accounts. Kay did mention that she would like to start saving, but at this moment, she doesn't have any extra money to start saving. So right now, she is not saving. So we're going to go ahead and move on to her debts. So Kay has quite a few debts, but right now she has about 3 urgent debts. And at the time of shooting this video, she does have a Capital One card. And she is currently sending $25 a month to them. She also have car taxes that are due, and that is worth $110. Okay, and then she also has a student loan. Okay, and she is currently not contributing anything to her student loan, but she is but she did enroll into the Save payment plan. So what I'm actually going to do is link my free ebook that I created to help people get back into paying their student loans. So I commend you, Kay, for at least getting on a student loan repayment plan, and I'm happy to hear that right now you do not have to contribute anything. If you're currently not contributing and you're not signed up for a particular payment plan, what I'm going to do is link my free student loan repayment guide in the description so that you can get started and at least get on a student loan repayment plan. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and add up these totals to figure out what her total monthly expenses are for her debts. So we got $25 plus $110. Okay, so right now she is spending $135 a month towards her debts. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to add up all of these totals to figure out if we've reached a zero-based budget. So let's go ahead and do that now. So right now we do not have a zero-based budget. Kay is only spending about $1,900 of her income. I'm going to subtract her total net income from this number right here, and we're going to see how much money we still need to budget for. $2,640. Okay, remember that's her net income, and so far we've only spent $1,980, so I'm going to write that right here. Okay, and we're gonna see how much we still have to work with. All right, so that leaves us with about $660 to still work with. So what I'm gonna do is add my Cash and Curls Touch to Kay's budget and give this $660 a name. So let's go ahead and do that now. So what I'm gonna do is actually change my marker. I'm going to use this green marker right here. This is going to represent the changes I'm going to make to Kay's budget. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do is add a utilities category. So I notice that Kay does have rent, so with rent comes utilities, and I noticed that she stated that she's behind on her bills, and I'm assuming this is her utilities. So what I'm going to do is add utilities to her budget. Utilities to her budget, and I'm just going to give her about $330 for utilities. Okay, I'm also going to include a tithing and a giving category inside of her budget. So I don't know if Kay is a believer or not, but whether you're a believer or not, I highly recommend that you give 10% of your income either to your local church or to a charity of your choice. So what I'm going to do is give 10%. So 10% of this $2,640 will be $264. Okay, you can never beat giving, and I want you guys to become generous people. All right, next we're going to go over here to her variable expenses, and I want to tweak a few things in her variable expenses. First and foremost, I want her to reduce her spending and eating out. Kay has a lot of debt, and I do not know if she has an emergency fund, but we need to reduce this until our debts are paid and we have a starter emergency fund. So what I'm going to do is actually reduce this. This arrow means reduce. I'm going to reduce it down to $100. Okay. What I'm also going to do is reduce her personal spending and beauty. Once again, we got to get into the mode of DIYing a few things. So I'm going to reduce this down to $100 as well. Kay also stated that she has a child who's in elementary school, and I think parents typically forget to include their children in their budget. So I'm going to add a line item for baby Kay. Baby Kay. Okay. And I'm just going to give baby Kay $100. Okay. Just like you have a personal spending line, baby Kay needs a personal spending line as well. In addition to that, I'm also going to create a category within her budget for emergency funds. Please don't judge my spelling, guys. Emergency funds. Okay. And we're going to give her $83. we're gonna put $83 towards her emergency fund, and then we're also gonna have a savings account called the off season, and this is where this is funds for when she's not working as a paraprofessional in the summer. So we're gonna give $83 as well to her off season, and right now I think she's good with her debts. So let's total off these numbers to see if we've reached now a zero-based budget. All right, so now I'm going to recalculate our numbers to see if we've spent $660. So we have the $725. What I'm going to do is just add these two numbers right here to the $725 to see what our new grand total is. So we got $725, which is all of these numbers, plus we have $330 plus $264. All right, so our new grand total for our fixed expenses is going to be $1,319. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add her variable expense. So we're currently at, so I'm going to actually just recalculate these numbers since I did reduce a few things. So brings us to $1,020 for her variable expense. Okay, and then now we're going to add up our savings for the month. So we have 83 plus 83, and that should give us 166. Okay, so now we're going to add up our totals, our green numbers, plus this numbers for our debt to see if we've reached a zero-based budget. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we have 1319 plus all right, so it looks like we've reached a zero-based budget. Okay, so our income minus our expenses is zero, so that means that every single dollar is accounted for. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the recommendations for K. All right, so before we get into the recommendations, first and foremost, I do want to highlight some really good things that Kay is doing inside of her budget. So Kay, I want to commend you first and foremost for doing the best that you can with what you have. Truly commend you for getting your budget honestly almost to zero base. We only had about $600 that we still needed to allocate money for. So Kay, you are doing a great job as a mom managing the income that you currently have. Secondly, I do also want to commend you for getting your student loans in check. Like, so many people are just leaving their student loans and just forgetting about them. Like, they know they have like $20,000, $30,000 in student loan debt, and they're deciding to do nothing. And Kay, I just want to applaud you for actually taking the initiative and taking the steps necessary to get on a repayment plan, okay? And I love that you found a plan that works for you. So if you didn't know, Kay is currently on the SAVE plan, and I think it's perfect for her current situation. And if you are out there and you have decided to just put your student loans on the wayside, I want to talk to you for a moment. This year is a new year, and this year we're going to take control of our finances. We are going to do the things we need to do and put things into place to help us be successful with our finances. And the first thing that we need to do is to get on a student loan repayment plan. In addition to that, I also want to commend you, Miss K, for utilizing your child support and your food stamps wisely. I love that, that your child support is covering your child's tuition, and I love that you're using your food stamps to help you pay for groceries each month. So kudos to you on utilizing your supplemental income to help you within your budget. So let's go ahead and get into the recommendations for K. So first and foremost, Kay, I want you to start adding utilities to your budget. So I noticed that you stated that you were behind on your bills, and I don't know if that's behind on your utilities or if that's behind on your credit cards and your loans. But whatever the case is, I do want you to include utilities inside of your budget. I know that you have rent, and it was a little unclear inside of the form whether or not your dad was paying for your rent or baby K's dad was paying for the rent. Whatever the situation is, I definitely want you to get current on your utilities first. If you're responsible for paying your utilities, and then move on to the steps that I will provide later on today. So if you are watching this video and you're currently behind on your bills, I consider these your four walls. That's your housing, your utilities, transportation needs, and if you're lacking food in the house, I highly recommend that you cover your four walls, those four areas, before you do anything else. I want you to get current on all of those bills before you start saving for your emergency fund, before you start paying off debt. You want to do that first. So another recommendation that I have for you, Kay, is that I want you to include a line item inside of your budget for your child, okay? Baby K needs a line item in your budget. So if you're a mom out there and you have a child, you want to include a line item for your child. You may not be writing this out on paper, but trust and believe your child is eating up some money each month from your budget. So the smart thing for you guys to do is to include a line item inside of your budget for your children, okay? And I just suggest that you give baby K about $100, and this can cover clothing for baby K. It can include activities for the month for baby K, school-related activities, or leisure activities for baby K. So next, I recommend that you reduce a few of your expenses, specifically in the area of spending, eating out, personal, and beauty. I like to call this the entertainment budget. So if you're out there and you're currently behind on your bills and you're drowning in debt, I want you to take a step back and reduce some of this fun money that we're spending, okay? So I definitely recommend that you reduce your spending and eating out budget to $100, and I also recommend that you reduce your personal and beauty expenses down to $100. So 2024 is the year of us getting creative and saving some of our coins. So if you're a woman out there, I highly recommend that we take a look at our budgets and find different ways for us to reduce some of our personal and beauty expenses. YouTube University is a great university to be a part of. On YouTube University, I've learned how to apply lashes, do my makeup, do my hair, polish my nails. If you're a millennial out there looking to save some coins, I highly recommend that you get in the habit of doing some of these things yourself, okay? If you're into wigs, if you're into frontals and all this other type of stuff, learn how to do some of these things on your own, okay? This can help you save so much money in your budgets, and it can give you more income to pay off those debts and those credit cards and to help you build your emergency fund. Next, after you've all caught up on your bills, Kay, I highly recommend that you move on to saving a starter emergency fund. So if you do not have a starter emergency fund of about $1,000, I want you to make this your top priority this year. I want you to take some time to save that money and save it as quickly as you can, because you know life is going to happen, but you want to make sure that you have a safety net for you and your child if life decides to happen, okay? And while you are saving your starter emergency fund, since your income fluctuates from month to month, and we know that you do not get paid in the summers from June to September, I highly recommend that you create a sinking fund, and I like to call this sinking fund the off season. I called it the off season because you do not work during June and September. So what I want you to do with this off season fund is I want you to try to save $100 a month to go inside of this fund, and this money will help kind of supplement or provide income for you while you're out of work from June to September. Notice that you stated inside of your form that some months you do get paid 5 times. So what I recommend is that you take that 5th check and just automatically throw it to that off-season fund. So when June, July, August, September comes, you can have some money to pull from and not be as stressed, okay? In addition to creating this off-season fund, I noticed that you also stated that you are working part-time as a paraprofessional. So, since you're working part-time, I do have some other suggestions for you. First and foremost, I suggest that you try to find a full-time position as a paraprofessional. Secondly, if that option is not available, I want you to start picking up extra hours and potentially get a part-time job. I want you to find a job that will work with your current job as a paraprofessional and will work with your child's schedule. So some things that I recommend if you want to stay in the educational world is, first and foremost, you can work at an after-school program with children. You can look to work at a daycare. You can look to become a tutor. And if you're interested in getting out of the education world, I suggest you look into Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, or even potentially working in retail if that's something that you desire. Definitely have to find another way to increase our income, okay? So yes, I highly recommend that you do that. And I also recommend that in the summer times when you're not working as a paraprofessional, that you pick up a part-time job. So this next recommendation is going to be a big ask. And I know it's easier said than done, but I would like for you to pause on helping your mom out, okay? So I've been in a similar situation like you where I felt obligated to help my mom out because I noticed that she was struggling, okay? I noticed that you stated that your mom recently lost her job and she's without income right now. I feel like you have a heart, and your heart is to help your mom because you do not want your mom to struggle. But earlier this year, I got a word from the Lord, and it was for me, but I feel like it could be for a lot of us. And it was to get your house in order before you try to help someone else, okay? So many times we feel like we're obligated or we need to help our family, our parents, our loved ones because they are struggling financially, and we're doing a little bit better than they are. And if we're being honest, looking at your budget, Kay, you are in a hard place right now, okay? You're living paycheck to paycheck, you're behind on your bills, and you're drowning in debt, okay? And I believe that it's time for you to get your house in order before you help someone else, okay? I kept the $120 in the budget because I don't think it's going to break you if you give your mom $120 a month, but I want you to look for other ways to help your mom. And this goes for anyone out there. If you have a parent, a loved one, a family member that is struggling financially and they're asking for you to help them, I want you to think about helping them in other ways that is not financially. So ways that you can help your family member, your mom, is by helping her learn how to budget, okay? Help your mom learn how to budget. Show her my Budgeting with Me series here on YouTube. Share with her the link to get my free monthly budget template. Help her with filling out forms to help her get assistance with paying some of her utilities or getting on different programs to help her be able to lighten the load a little bit. So there are other ways to helping our family members and our loved ones out there. Sometimes we have to make that hard decision that, hey, I want to help you, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, but I cannot do it financially. But what I can do is give you some knowledge and some wisdom on how you can get better with your finances. So now we're going to get into this big recommendation that I have for Kay. So looking at Kay's debt, I saw that she had 15 various credit cards and loans that are currently in collections. So if you're a person that has tons of credit cards or loans that are inside of collections, I want you to listen up because this can actually help you. So right now I'm going to be talking about how to settle your debts and negotiate with your creditors. Debt settling is simply negotiating with your creditors to pay less than what you currently owe. For instance, you have a $10,000 debt. A way for you to settle that debt or to negotiate that debt is to talk to your creditor and see if you can settle that debt down to $1,000. Maybe you pay that $1,000 and that debt is settled, it's done, it's over with. So settling your debt is something that you can honestly do yourself. So many people think that they have to pay someone to do this for them. And let me just tell you, that is absolutely false. You can actually do this on your own. It's just gonna take some preparation and it's gonna take some resilience, okay? This is gonna be a long journey, but it's gonna be worth it if you can get some of this debt off of your shoulders. First things first, there are a few steps you want to take before you call your creditors. Do you have enough cash to settle the debt today? Okay? If you do not have enough cash to settle that debt today, can you afford to do monthly payments with your debt collector? So if you decide to do that long-term payment plan, You want to decide and determine how much can you afford to send to that debt each month without putting a strain on your budget. After you do that, I want you to think about what will happen if the debt creditor says no, that we will not settle this debt and we will not allow for you to get on a payment plan. What will be your next steps? Okay, so these are things we have to think about before we call our debt collector. All right, so the second thing that you want to do before you call your debt collector is know your story. Okay, so what is your story? Identify what your story is, okay, and briefly share that story with your debt collector so they can get an idea of where you're coming from. So, okay, in your instance, you are a single mom who has an income that fluctuates and it varies from month to month. You are a mom working very hard and you're trying to do your best to pay off your debt, but right now it's just hard for you. Hard for you to get caught up on your debts, but you truly want to pay off your debts. I will share with my debt collector that type of story, okay? You can add more details if you would like, but all I recommend is that you be honest, okay? So when you're crafting up this story, be honest and tell them the truth. When you decide to call your debt collector, you want to take some notes. You need to have a pen and paper ready to go when you dial that phone number, and you want to write down everything you guys talk about. You want to get the agent's number, whatever their ID number is. You want to get all those crucial, important details written down so that you can always refer back to them, okay? I also want you to be prepared. I want you to have your account information ready to go. I want you to know what you owe. I want you to know all the details regarding this loan. This is not the time to be scrambling. You want to be prepared and show this debt collector that you are about business and you're trying to do the best that you can to settle this debt. So definitely have all the necessary documents available right in front of you when you make that call to your debt collector. After you do that, I want you to call your debt collector. Tell them your story. Verify the debts, the amount, the type of debt that it is. Let them know that you want to honor your debts, but you can only just pay a portion of that debt at this current time. And just let them know that you are serious about paying off this debt, okay? If during this call you guys are able to come up with an agreement on how this debt is going to be settled, I want you to get everything in writing. Before you make a payment, before you send them a dime, you want to make sure you have this in writing, okay? Because if we're being honest, people can do some shiesty stuff, okay? So you definitely want to get this in writing before you send a payment to that debt collector. When you send that payment, you also want to make sure you get that settled in full statement, okay? So you don't want to give them access to your checking account. So first and foremost, you want to get it in writing that you guys are going to settle this debt for X amount of dollars. Then you want to mail in a check with a return receipt so that you can know that the debt collection agency actually accepted your check. And that's the process. And I want you to do this for all of your debts. For all 15 of your debts, I want you to take the time to see if you can settle and negotiate down the balance, okay? This could truly help you take a lot of load off of your shoulders and free up some of your income, okay? So it is worth your time to sit, call, and negotiate with these creditors, okay? Keep trying. I suggest starting this off with your smallest debt that's in collections and doing it all the way up to that largest debt that's in collections as well. All right, guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and get into the homework. So if you've loved this video so far, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you won't miss my next episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls. So my homework for you guys tonight is to first and foremost download my free monthly budget template, and secondly, get started with budgeting today. Stop putting off budgeting, okay? There's no more excuses. I've provided the template. I have a series on my channel with tons of budgeting videos to help you get started. So now it's time for you to get started on your budget. And my third homework assignment for you guys is if you are in a similar situation like Kay and you're drowning in credit card debts and you have tons of loans and collections, now is the time to craft up your story and call these debt collectors and see if you can settle and negotiate down that balance. Okay, so use the tips that I provided in this video to help you get started with lightening your load and releasing some of that debt off of your shoulders. Okay, I hope this video truly gave you some insight on how you can be more strategic with your income that you currently have, and I hope that it gets you to a better position financially. Okay, I truly respect what you do in your occupation. I know that that job is not easy, and I just want to thank you for your service to those kids that you are working with. And Kay, I truly believe that if you continue to take these small financial steps, that you will be successful with your finances, and that you will be a better budgeter. Okay, so okay, feel free to reach out to me via Instagram or through email. If you have any questions, I am here to support you, and I just want to see you win with money. So if you like today's episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls, and you would like to be featured on my next episode of Budgeting with Cash and Curls, all I need for you to do is to click the link down in my description box and fill out the form. Okay, so if you're very detailed with your budgets, you could potentially be next person featured on my Budgeting with Cash and Curls series. Okay, so my goal is to continue to do a budget a month, so I need you guys to keep submitting in your forms, because I truly enjoy this budgeting series, and I think you guys enjoy it as well. So that is all that I have for you guys today. Never forget that you can win with money, and I am rooting for you. Until next time, friends. Bye.